In this video, I'd like to help you answer the question, do I have OCD, Obsessive-Compulsive Disorder? Because OCD can manifest in so many varied ways that its diagnosis is often overlooked or misunderstood. At its core are unrequested, intrusive and obsessive thoughts that cause you to create scary stories in your mind of all the things that could go wrong, thus invoking anxiety in your body, doubt about the right thing to do, and the need for reassurance. Now, some individuals develop physical compulsions that distract them from their fears, such as cleaning things, counting things, or any routine that produces some feeling of control or distraction from the anxiety, thus lessening the discomfort, even if those compulsions are dysfunctional and don't serve you well in the long run. Or they may become trapped by unrequested and traumatic intrusive thoughts of harming, sexually assaulting, or abusing others. But to really understand OCD, we need to recognize that it originates from and sits on top of anxiety. Anxiety develops in the months following trauma, illness, profound loss, separation, educational pressure, bullying, redundancy, or long periods of stress. These events cause excess worry and physical exhaustion, which develops into anxiety, and if not treated, escalates into OCD in certain types of people. These tend to be intelligent, creative individuals with low self-esteem and complex personalities. Often they have repressed anger, struggle to speak their mind, and they dislike conflict too. Now, over and above our natural anxiety, caused by the fight, flight, or freeze responses, anxiety can be defined as your unconscious mind and body warning you that you're biologically exhausted and need to stop worrying and rest more. It does this by unconsciously sabotaging you, usually with the logic of an 8-year-old, to try and pull you back from life, hoping that you can stop worrying and begin to recharge. Now, your unconscious, it doesn't care about your job, your relationship, or money, just your emotional well-being as an animal. So with the logic of a small child, your own unconscious mind begins to sabotage and scare you, causing you to retreat from life and stay at home. Now, this sabotage may include a generalized anxiety where you can't quite put your finger on why you feel anxious. It may sabotage your work, your being able to travel, your sleep, your social interaction with others, your relationships, and even sabotage your own health. Consciously, you're thinking, why am I feeling anxious at work? And unconsciously, your brain is thinking, excellent. If I make her anxious at work, she'll quit her job and stay at home, thus resting and recuperating. But if the person consciously ignores their body's exhaustion, pushes on and continues to worry, the unconscious mind has to bring out the big guns to sabotage the individual to rest. And this is when OCD develops. And in about 95% of individuals, the unconscious mind uses OCD-type thoughts to escalate their anxiety, thus frightening them even more, forcing them to remain in their home's perceived safety or to return home quickly to lessen their stress when out and about out of the house. Remember, your biology doesn't care about your job, your relationship, or your car. It cares about you being alive and emotionally functional. So my definition of OCD is any thought, urge, compulsion, phobia, or habit that tries to stop you from leaving your home, or when you're out of your home, tries to make you so anxious that you return quickly to its perceived safety. Now, OCD makes you doubt everything, including yourself, so that you retreat from life, where your unconscious brain and your cellular biology hopes that you'll just sit silently to recalibrate and recharge. I guess that's why if you do manage to get some rest, or the bad events in your life lessen, or if the people around you pamper to your needs and don't stress you out, your OCD backs off for a little while. And just like anxiety, OCD always works in the same patterns, which mainly fall into 4 categories. The first category is just your everyday anxiety problem, escalated to new levels of intensity. So take any of the previously explained types of anxiety and spend all day worrying about it. Therefore, mild hypochondria becomes an absolute fear of death and dying. Sabotaging your travel by making you afraid to drive becomes an obsession that if you drove your car, you may crash into a person on purpose or kill them. Sabotage by insomnia may become a fear that you flatline and die if you fall asleep. A fear of germs may become a full-blown fear of vomiting, which makes you fearful of alcohol or sick children or restaurants. The list goes on. Now, the second category of OCD are compulsive things that you feel compelled to physically do. Washing your hands, cleaning the house, lining things up, touching things a certain number of times, avoiding odd or even numbers, avoiding germs or contamination, checking doors and windows, checking electrical appliances are unplugged, compulsive exercising, compulsive diet regimes, breathing and swallowing in specific ways. I could go on all day about these things. And it doesn't matter which ones you have. All these compulsions, no matter what, are just an unconscious trick to grab your attention and to pull you away from life. However, your conscious mind is looking for answers. Why do I have to do this? What will happen if I don't do this? These compulsions are just what your subconscious mind decided to focus on. Plus, you already know that once you can manage to overcome one compulsion, it just morphs to another, which further proves my statement that no compulsion has any meaning. It's just a way to make you disengage from life, hoping that you'll then stop worrying and recharge your batteries. Now, the third category are things that you have to think, say, pray, count, or sing all in a certain way. And if you get it wrong, you may need to start again and again until a certain number of repetitions or a time limit has been met. Now, many children have this type of compulsion, and it can often take them 2 or 3 hours to get to sleep or to get something done because they need to run through specific procedures in their mind correctly. And for some, perfecting the mental routine is enough to calm themselves down. But for others, then they need to actually do something physically too, such as turning all the lights on and off or checking the doors or arranging things into specific orders. These thinking procedures can become very scary for some people, especially if they believe that if they don't do it or if they get it wrong, something terrible will happen to themselves or a loved one, or that there may be some negative religious connotations. We often see this pattern formed after a family member has been ill or passes away, and there's a feeling of guilt or blame that they could have prevented it in some way. Of course, these are only stories, but they're enough to scare you into doing the procedures just in case. Realistically, the world's not going to end if you do these things. It's just the OCD scaring you. Now, the final category is intrusive thoughts. These are often nasty and very scary. They are unrequested thoughts, desires or urges that may shock or frighten you. You know you wouldn't act on them, but you worry, what if I might? Examples include the thought that you might stab your family to death while they sleep at night. A mother may fear she will drown or throw her baby down the stairs. Thoughts that you may sexually abuse a child or inappropriate feelings of a sexual nature about yourself or others. Religious doubts or thoughts that you may be gay, transgender, or in the wrong relationship. A fear that you're being watched, observed, tracked, or that you'll have your identity fraudulently misused. Once again, there is no limit to the stories that your mind can use to trap you. Though they feel so real, they are not true. It's a trap. It's a trick of the OCD. Another OCD trap is to classify the OCD with a label, such as pure O, harm OCD, health OCD, or relationship OCD. All OCD is just different manifestations of the same symptom, a scary story and or compulsions that keep you stuck. And like I said earlier, even if you manage to overcome a particular fear, it just morphs to something else that it thinks, with the logic of an 8-year-old, will grab your attention. And finally, OCD only seems to occur in nice, kind, or good people. This is why their OCD can use stories about doing bad things to scare them, and why they can begin to start trusting themselves rather than believing these sabotaging stories. So, OCD is the symptom. Anxiety, overthinking, physical exhaustion, and your complex personality are the problems. OCD is not a disease. It's the conditioning of the brain and the body following long periods of stress, and this condition can be reversed if you're taught what to do and you repeatedly follow the process. Then the next question that arises is, if I was the sort of person who when put under stress became anxious in the past, How can I learn new ways of coping with life so that I will never fall back into that situation again? Now, I hope this information allows you to better understand some of the patterns behind anxiety and OCD. And if you're ready for change, my OCD recovery course teaches you how to understand what's happening to you, how to interrupt the anxiety, you can reprogram your mind and your body back into calmness, and then how to look at life differently so that anxiety becomes a thing of the past. Why not come and check it out?